Alright guys, I'm back for part 2 of the most common errors that occur that causes QC issues. And again, I want to reiterate that QC issues makes our ratings go down, and in turn, if our rating is lower, we get less work. So I want to drive that home that not only does it interrupt your day if you get a quality control issue that needs to be fixed within 24 hours, but I believe in the long run it causes you more work, and for us all, including yourself, to get less work in the future. So the next most common error that I'm going to go over is the incorrect use of superior, inferior, and equal when it comes to sold comps. This is only talking about sold comps because this is the only area that it matters. So let's talk about the comparison. Sales comps have been verified by a buyer. A buyer was willing to pay that price for that house. Okay. For listing comps can be listed below market value, and in this market, we all know that it attracts multiple bids and it gets multiple offers, and you get into a bidding war. Okay. So just because something's listed at 250 doesn't really mean it's going to settle at 250 for a list price. But sales prices, you're picking the sales comps, you're also picking the list comps. You can make them overlap, just like the prior lesson. Okay. The other thing is you can pick superior comps and inferior comps for any scenario. Okay. I don't care what it is. You may have to go further out. You can pick comps that are superior and inferior. Not everything is equal, and I believe here's a great example of telling you, I'll give you an example when they're not equal. We could have 6 model matches, 3 sales comps and 3 list comps, all model matches to the subject. We all know that if we brought in buyers to all 6, they wouldn't pay the same dollar amount for all 6. Why? Different upgrades, different condition, different location, and it may have a view of some kind. So let's say we're talking about a condo. Condo could have a view of the street, a view of the city, a view of a golf course, a view of the mountains, view of some kind of water, lake, ocean, etc. Or you could be staring at a brick wall. Okay? So just because it's a model match does not mean that they're all equals. So now that we've established that just because it's a model match or the same model doesn't make it equal, let's talk about superiority and inferiority. The correct way of doing this for sold comps is, if you're picking the comps, you want to pick a ceiling value. This is the value that you're telling LSI and the bank, that's the end client, that this is the ceiling value for this subject property. What you're doing there is you're telling them, look, don't list it for more than X number of dollars, or your chances of selling or moving this thing not very good. Okay. When you're picking this comp, you want to pick a superior comp that is superior to your subject and that sort of tops out your value. You want to make sure that it is a ceiling value. Okay. What I commonly see is something like this. And again, I've altered this report so that I could do this lesson. What I commonly see is this: 305. This is the lowest sales comp, and it's a superior. That is wrong. We cannot do that. That makes no sense that you're telling them this is a superior comp to your subject and it's supposed to be your ceiling value, but now you have not 1, not 2, but if you scroll down, you have 5 comps that are either listed or sold for more than this comp that's supposedly a superior. Okay? So please understand that when you're using superior and inferior, which we would prefer to see and which we try to require you to do, what it does is it gives you a cap or ceiling value of where it should be. Okay. On the other end, the use of equal and inferior, your superior comps have to be the highest priced sold comps that you're using in your report. Okay. And you can only use max of 2 of of superior comps or inferior comps. Okay, so please do not turn in reports with all inferiors, and please do not turn in reports with all your sales comps and or your listing comps as superiors. I don't want to see superior, superior, superior here, or inferior, inferior, inferior here. The report 80% of the time is coming back. Now, I just don't like quality control being inconsistent here, because sometimes they'll kick it back for that and sometimes they won't. Now, 80% of the time kicking it back is enough for me to say, let's not do it. Let's not do superior, 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 or inferior, inferior, inferior. Okay? You're not showing them much if you're doing that. What shows a better picture of value is finding a ceiling value. And so this one, I've altered to be the superior, has more square feet, so that's enough. Plus, not only does it have more square feet, but it sold for the most. So I'm inclined to change this to the superior, right, to correct this report. Okay, and these two look like they're both inferior properties. Okay, so this one not only inferior for lot size, this one not only inferior for age, but for room count. And although it's near the same square footage, there's more bedrooms. So bedrooms are more worth it than the square footage difference. So I would be inclined to make this an inferior, make this an inferior, and make this a superior. Okay? You do not have to have an equal in your section. Okay? The only requirement that we try to give is a superior and inferior per section. Okay? And this satisfies that. We've got one superior, one inferior. Third, we don't care what it is. Okay, but it has to make sense. So what we could have done is, let's say this was actually 123 Main Street. Okay, and 123 Main Street sold for $318 and had 4,200 square feet. Well, that doesn't bracket. Let's make sure it brackets here. 3,900 square feet. Okay. In this case, this is now a superior property to the subject. More square feet, okay, and it has a higher sales price. So we could have two superiors and an inferior, okay. This only matters with sales comps. I want to drive this home because I say it, but then people turn in something to the contrary, because agents have marketing strategies. Some agents overlist or underlist properties because they don't know their market. So until it's verified by a buyer willing to pay a price, these are all imaginary figures. 329, 329, 320. These are all imaginary. They could settle for $30,000 less or $50,000 more, right? We all know that. So let's try to do what is in the guidelines and what's going to have the least amount of QC issues. All right, and just because there are 3 sales comps in the subject subdivision doesn't mean that you need to use all 3. Okay, what do I mean by that? Well, let's say 2 of these were from the subject subdivision and the third one was not. Well, the third subdivision comp that we saw did not, let's say it didn't fit this report. Don't try to make all comps fit a report. We got to follow the basic rules. We got to follow the 20% GLA rules, the 10%, the 10 years variance rule, the 20% lot size variance, and the 20% bracketing of values, right? Now, so please understand that don't force subdivision comps that are in the same subdivision as a subject to be inside your report. Okay? And if you need help with that, let us know. We're here to help, and we're here to get you more work. And the way to get you more work is to prevent the QC issues. All right? Thanks again for taking a look at this video, and there'll be one more in the series. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.